In this video, I'm going to walk through a Webflow site that I created for Blaze Transit. Let's go! Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Derek Su. I'm a Sydney-based web designer and Webflow developer. As I mentioned in this video, we'll be walking through a project that I completed for blazetransit.com. This was completed back in 2023, and at the time, this was the biggest client that I've ever gotten, if I'm being very honest, and it involved both custom design and custom development. Blaze Transit is, at the time, was a startup company that I believe got funded. I think it was like $250,000. And essentially, it's a on-demand software that helps with transportation/commute. So that's what that is. Let's go ahead and take a look at the old website. So right now I'm using Wayback Machine, and this is what it looked like before. So again, it's an AI-based software platform that allows transit operators to run on-demand bus services using their existing vehicles. So I'm not quoting Blaze Transit, but in a way, for you guys to understand, it's almost like Uber or Grab, where it has an actual platform that they built. So it's tech in a way. So right now you can see their previous website, if I remember correctly, was built in Squarespace or Wix, and it's fine. Honestly, as long as you have a website, at the end of the day, I think that's number one, especially if you're a startup. But this is, you can tell, it's an MVP website. Perhaps they were proving a concept before they invested money into creating an actual website. But very, very basic, but it does have all the information, and you'll notice that some of the colors are off, etc. But nevertheless, it is all there. So this is the About Us page. As you can see, it's a very basic layout with a lot of text, etc. So my goal was to improve the user experience in order to increase conversions, in order to increase traffic, and also to increase the design, essentially. So let's go ahead and take a look at the scope. So again, like I mentioned, this was a fairly big project. It actually covered about 18 pages, and it consisted of two phases. One is custom design of the website, and then after approval, it is Webflow development. So this was, at the time, I never took on something like this. So it was very new to me, but nevertheless, this is the scope right here. I've even provided a rough schedule. So I estimated it to be 4-week turnaround time. First week, just doing the homepage design. And usually I like to do the homepage design first. That way, when the client looks at it, they won't be like, oh, this design is a bit off. Can you please redo everything? Because when you do everything, like every single page of the design, and they don't like it, then you have to start again every single page. So if we just do the homepage and that gets approved, then we know what kind of style that the client likes, and we can go ahead and proceed with the rest of the pages. So as you can see right here, I think I took 3 weeks to do the design and then 1 week for Webflow development. I mean, I think at the time I had like, I don't know how I did it, to be honest. Like that's interesting. So again, I put the start date and the finish date, but I made it very, very clear that this is just a rough schedule, and most likely it's gonna not be in 4 weeks because of revision times. So this is something called my premium package at the time, which is, again, custom design and development. And I don't like to take any client, because doing custom design is very collaborative, in my opinion. And if you're a business person, design is open to interpretation. So it's really important to pick the right client. So just like how you go for a job interview, the employer is like looking for a specific person, perhaps not to be a pain in the ass. This is the exact same thing you should do as a freelancer when, in my opinion, when you're doing custom design. You don't want to work with any client. You want to work with someone who's easygoing, who trusts your expertise, etc. So I got really, really, really lucky that the person that hired me didn't micromanage, that trusted my expertise, etc. It could have easily went really, really bad. For example, the client would be like, the worst part is when the client tells you what to do, even though they hired you, and that's just a headache for everyone involved. And that just, I praise God that didn't happen. So I actually done the design of the website, but I lost the design file. But nevertheless, with my premium packages, I like to have weekly catch-up calls with the client. And the first call is just establishing the brand identity essentially. So we have the company name, we have two different types of logo. We have the favicon followed by, or the icon mark, followed by the actual full logo. Then I go ahead and just suggest a color scheme. So the top is the primary right here, and this is the secondary. I don't believe I used red previously. I go ahead and I recommend them a font, and I go ahead and just let them know what specific goals that I'm going to do the website design. So I want this to be modern, clean, good user experience, obviously professional, a SaaS/agency website, simple, and also bespoke because it is a custom design. Then I go ahead and just put in the main target audience. So at the time, this was people in Canada, US, and North America, as well as rural and small communities, etc. And the secondary target audiences is investors, as well as passengers and drivers, which are the stakeholders essentially. So the main call to action is essentially to get people to book in a free demo, and this can be done through a contact form or a meeting link, and as well as get into the contact us page where they can actually call the business or email the business, etc. And there's also a secondary call to action, which is downloading the app, applying for a job to work for Blaze Transit, viewing the blogs, and viewing the case studies. So it's very important to actually identify the goals. In this case, it isn't really to directly convert them straight away. It's actually to vet them, and it's actually to do a bunch of things. So that was very important to establish. But once that's done, I've gone ahead and just designed the homepage, followed by the rest of the pages, and it went back and forth. But let's go ahead and take a look at the final website. So again, this website was built in Webflow. I believe I was using EMS, so ephemeral units, and I was basing that off viewport width, meaning the website really scales nicely no matter what device you're looking at on. So you can be looking at it in an iMac or a small MacBook Pro screen, 13-inch. It would still look the same roughly. And the design that I really liked, or that I went for and that I suggested for, is a line style. So whenever I look at the logo, I just analyze what it has. In this case, it's actually just lines, and the lines represent, transport or commute going from point A to point B. That's why I wanted to carry the line style over the website. It's not something random. So as an advice, if you want to go for a bespoke custom website, it's important to obviously identify the logo first, because that's the main point of attention. And then you can go ahead and base the design of the website to your logo. So that's partly why a logo is pretty important. Nevertheless, that's what I did. So we have a nav bar that sticks to the top, followed by different links in a drop-down. So the reason why I put this in a drop-down is because it streamlines the choices. So if you can see, if we had too many options at the top, it's very confusing about what to click on. So now we have the drop-down. And you'll notice in each of the drop-down, it actually has an icon on the left. And looking at this now, it's a bit off. So for example, I use solid icons right here, but right here, it's actually line-filled icons. So I would suggest to stick to a style. I can tell there's a slight inconsistency here. But nevertheless, we're learning. On the right-hand side, we have sign in, which takes you to the platform. If I actually hit on it, it takes you to a pop-up, which lets you sign in for a passenger or admin side. And on the right, we have the main CTA of Contact Us, followed by a language functionality. So at the time, there was no such thing as Webflow Locale, which automatically translates your website. There was Weglot, which cost a lot of money. So what I've actually done for the client in this case is I've duplicated every single page. So if I hit French, you can see it says /FR, and this is all duplicated. So the client had to manually change the text. So this is a free way of getting around everything, but it's probably not advisable if you're going to update your website a lot. So right now we just have a very, very clear header 1, which the client has changed over the past years, followed by 2 CTAs, request a free demo, and learn more. So I really like doing this, where you prompt the user if you're not ready to go, because sometimes they're the first time visiting the website. If you hit this button, it scrolls you to the next section. So on the right-hand side, this image is actually taken from StorySet, which I've done a YouTube short on the past. But it's a great way to get free illustrations, and you can brand it towards the company. And then below this, straight away, I wanted to put the social proof. So usually in websites, for some reason, they put all the logos and social proof. They either hide it into a different page, like the About Us page, or they put it on the bottom. But why not put it right here to establish that credibility? Then scrolling down, it has a Why Us in this specific format. followed by solutions in a tab format like so. And then scrolling down, we have scale up, which talks about 3 of the features. And you'll notice if I scroll down, this left-hand side is a sticky. And you'll also notice it's following that line style as I mentioned. The main colors are the blue and the teal. And the next section is FAQs. So this is great to answer customers' pain point as well as for SEO. And then below this is another social proof section with the logos, followed by a CTA section. And you'll notice that I've just added like small attention to detail. For example, I've added this bus that loops endlessly, which just looks pretty cool. You know, it creates this cool visual effect. But again, the main CTA is request a free demo. Then below this, in my opinion, this footer that I created was pretty unique because it looks interesting and it has a lot of lines. And you can see that it has a scroll back to top right here, followed by the logo, mission statement, all the sitemap links right here, followed by social media links, and 2 CTAs to download this in the App Store and Google Play. And you can see the last updated was 2023. So that is the homepage. Let's quickly fly through each of the pages. Let's go to our company. So About Us is right here. I have this hover effect. And then scrolling down, we have some stats with a counter up animation, followed by vision, followed by the team section, which I believe was built through the CMS. And wow, they have actually expanded the team quite a bit, so good on them. And then you also have a Join Us right here, which goes into the careers page, as well as a story page. And that's that. Taking a look at the careers page, we can see that it follows a similar design, copy on the left, image on the right, followed by 3 images to break up the design to balance between text overload and just a nice visual balance. So below this is the values that Blaze Transit likes to hire. And then below that is some testimonials on employees who like working at Blaze Transit. So again, this is social proof. And below this is why you should work for Blaze Transit, followed by opportunities for students, followed by the actual opportunities, which is sitting in a different website URL. This also says if you can't find any roles that is listed, you can also just contact us directly. So that's actually like, a pro tip. If you want to work for a specific company, why not just email the company, even if they're not hiring for that role? That like you might not get it, but you can do it. It's not like it's illegal or anything. You have nothing to lose. Side tangent. But anyways, this whole landing page essentially is talking about careers, and it's actually laid out very nicely and with a lot of thought into it. It's like not selling the company, but it's selling to work for the company. So it has all the key information. Next thing is investor relations. So Blaze wants to get funding, and it shows the stats, shows all this information, but you'll notice that the design is similar. It's a box design, and it has similar layouts. Right here, we talk about press release, which is built through the CMS, followed by the executive team, followed by logos, and etc. So that's that page. Then we have the products page. So let's take a look at Blaze platform. You can see right now we have the same tab functionality as the home page, followed by a left, right, left, right, left, right section, which is alternate. So image on the left, image on the right, image on the left. And again, this is all through StorySet. Then that's that. Let's take a look at one more, maybe Blaze Analytics. Exact same design layout. And this is very easy for the client to edit the content. The next pages are the services page. So let's just take a look at one of them, perhaps paratransit. Right now you can see we have 3 points, followed by logo marquee, followed by this specific design where the left is sticky. And each of these texts are supported by a nice icon illustration. So you don't have to do anything crazy, but you'll notice just having this custom illustration, which again is through a free stock website called StorySet, it really separates the website to make it look bespoke, and it makes it look like they put a lot of effort into it, which they did. And another thing is you'll notice the background isn't actually white, but it's actually like a light green. So that also creates a very custom feel. You'll notice the top of the nav bar, that's actually white, but you can see it has the brand color in the page body background. So that's another recommendation that I can give you guys. is if you want to make a website custom, it's just one way. You could use their brand color in a very subtle background effect. Of course, it depends on the roles. So that's that. Then the next pages are like resources. So first we have case studies, which looks like this, followed by some stats, followed by a featured case study right here, followed by all case studies, which has this design of the logo, followed by a short text, which focuses on key stats. So perhaps I could have just outlined the key stats in like a green to make it really pop, but you'll notice this is saying 234%, 15 times, reduced by 29%. It's using business language, which is numbers. And if you click into one of them, it takes you to an in-depth page. And you can see that we have a back to case study button just for good user experience. The title, followed by a sticky card on the left, which just shows the client, their location, what their population is, when they launched this specific Blaze transit service in that country, as well as what they did and their goals. Then you can also hit contact us if you want to inquire further about this. And this is fantastic for SEO. So if someone just stumbles across this on Google, or I guess nowadays is ChatGPT, or if Blaze Transit shares it on their LinkedIn profile, they go into this page and they might hit contact us. So you can get, site views as well as site conversion by doing stuff like this. And right now you can see this is a rich text element followed by a dot point right here. And that is that. The next page in resources is blog. So right now it looks like this. And what I've done here is I've implemented FinSuite, filter, and sort. So you can actually sort between different categories instantly within the page. There's another way of doing it natively in Webflow, which takes you to a different page, which is arguable. One, it's good for SEO because you have a dedicated slug. So for example, it might be /blog/our company. But in this case, it just adds a question mark URL and it just lets you stay in that page, which I believe is better for user experience. So we can go ahead and just read one of them right here, read this story, and you can see this is what it looks like, rich text element, and that is that. So this is all built through the CMS. We also have read more, and that's the resources page. Let's finally take a look at contact us, which looks like this. On the left-hand side, you can see we can phone them, we can email them, we can even visit them, but it's saying appointment only on Saturday, Sunday, and that's that. On the right-hand side, this is actually a HubSpot form. I mean, it's pretty obvious because they have the HubSpot branding, but that way that goes into their CRM. So I guess you could pay for a HubSpot account, a premium business account, and change the colors, but whatever, it looks fine. And that's that. That's the website. Let's quickly fly through on mobile. And this is what it looks like on mobile. So everything just stacks. You'll notice that I've managed to fit the language right here, followed by the sign in button on the left, as well as the hamburger icon like so. And everything just stacks, but everything looks good on mobile. Everything works. And even the footer looks really, really nifty. So perhaps let's take a look at one of the pages, maybe careers, and you'll notice that everything is still working, still stacking. In this specific case right here, this used to be a 3-column layout, but 2 of the images are hidden because I didn't want to have 3 different images. So obviously I had to think about what it looks like on mobile, and that is that. So hope you guys found this video super helpful. This was a very fun project I worked on. Again, I got very lucky that I got like a really good client that didn't micromanage or anything, that was very understanding. And I praise God for having the opportunity to do this project. But hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you in the next video. Feel free to check out more of my videos right here, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.